Topic, a police plaza. This is an idea that's been thrown around several times. The substation downtown, it's been talked about for several years. It's kind of been fits and starts. Why talk about it now? Because the council has at least earmarked $4,000, which is about all they say they will need, to put a substation in an undisclosed, and we can't seem to know exactly who, but apparently a business owner has said, I've got a space for you on the plaza. So very quickly, this police substation could become a reality. I don't think it'll be a huge high-profile thing, but it will put a constant police presence down on the plaza. You know, good idea or bad idea. Now, what's heading here is the council is asking to revisit this. Specifically, I believe it was Councilors Hartzell and Navikas have said they want more discussion before this thing just jumps off. But the money is there. The police chief is in favor of it. It stands a very good chance of becoming a reality. And again, this is going to be one of those things that once it's in place, it's going to become a symbol for a lot of divergent views on that plaza. And, you know, already we've seen, and I haven't seen it, Mike Bianca, former police chief Mike Bianca, in the news at all since he left as his post. He quickly came out on this and said, you know, there's some problems, he's against it, and had a comment basically saying there are reasons why we haven't done it in the past. So you got a police chief now that's saying it's good community policing. You got a former police chief that says it's bad. You've got counselors who are worried about a police presence. You got business owners that have been begging for that. How's this shake out?
It's going to be tough for the council to not go through with this. I mean, they've put the money forward. We're going to see it down there, I think.
Good or bad? Is that to our benefit?
I don't know. I don't know.
You know, there's this simple, when we talked and interviewed Chief Holderness when he first got here, he made a very kind of interesting statement. He says, well, you want police where the people are, one, and the other is that anytime you have groups of people with severely contrasting views, you've got potential for a need for police to be around. So, you know, he's taking it from a strategy of just, yeah, this is where it's happening. This is where the tourists and the homeless people and the business owners and all these different people are boiling in this. I mean, it's no big secret. There's a lot going on down in the plaza underneath the surface. That's where the people are. That's a lot going, you know, there's a lot of activity. Why wouldn't you want police?
Is it going to diffuse the energy, or is it going to add to it? Well, I really don't know.
It depends again on the authenticity of the community policing model. I think that's a big one. The community policing model is, you know, you have police that are out there amongst people. So a police presence isn't necessarily, you know, this strong, jackbooted, you know, hot presence downtown sitting there with a nightstick trying to scare people off. It's walking around and milling around and being visible. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is probably how it's conducted. But there's certainly, you're going to, you know, at least having the presence there helps a little, I would think.
I got to tell you, I haven't heard a credible argument against it. It doesn't even make sense to me why anyone would be against having a couple of friendly police officers roaming around downtown. If someone has a problem, you know, you go to your community service officer or police officer that happens to be nearby. If there's some sort of altercation, there's a guy there to take care of it. I don't see the downside to it, except for those who plan on living outside the boundaries of the law. Now, those guys might have a little problem with it.
Well, and there is, okay, no big secret that there's certainly an element on the plaza at times that has gotten itself into some trouble with the police. That's nothing new. There's certainly, it would take longer for a response time if there's not a police officer down, a police presence down on the plaza. But then you take it a step further. I mean, this is probably something people should do more of. I remember a couple of years ago I did a column. I just walked with the downtown police officer at that time, and I just walked his beat. I just went out, he parked, we walked through the Lithia Park and up, you know, around and interacted, and, you know, from the skateboarder to the homeless guy to the guy who was, you know, college grad but flying his sign. You know, I kind of think you want that kind of interaction happening. You want them out there walking around talking and being there. You do have problems with, you know, something happens in the bathroom, somebody vandalizes the bathroom at a restaurant, you know, you want somebody there quickly. It doesn't have to be a negative thing, but to think that we're going to go into it with no argument and say that there isn't going to be a big political push here, it is. As soon as that comes, that's going to be a symbol.
No one's explaining what the opposition to it is. I haven't heard that.
Well, that'll be interesting because we have this council meeting coming up, and those councilors that have concerns will have an opportunity to articulate that. And I think it's good to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, what are your concerns, and let the police deal with it going through the door. My concern is, as soon as it opens up, you know, it's going to be end of discussion. It's going to be those for, those against. There's going to be protesters. There's going to be, you know, the whole thing.
You've got to be kidding me. I can't even imagine that.
I predict different. A lot of talk before. The second it goes up, the issue's over.
Well, that would be much better. Because it is better to have the concerns out now. You've got the money for it. We're moving ahead with it. Say what the concerns are above board, and then give them time to put it in place and see if it works. It can diffuse the whole thing.
It sounds like we're for it.
I would love to hear these concerns.
We got two strong for it.
I'm for it. I don't see the downside. I agree with Mike. I can't see why it hurts you. They already have a lot of police officers milling around down there. I mean, coming in and out.
I have no idea if it's going to be good or bad, but I want to see it just to see what happens.
Well, I got to tell you, some people have said, well, why can't you just have foot patrols? And why do you need a substation? And the police make a very good argument when they say, well, the foot patrols, whenever they have to do their lunchtime or their breaks, whenever they have to do paperwork, they don't have a nearby area where they can go and do those things and still have their presence on the plaza. They have to leave the plaza and then come back. So I think that having the substation there is good, especially if someone can just walk into the substation to file a complaint or to get help or what have you.
Yeah, you know, at least the way it's being presented on paper, I think it's good for it's probably good for the situation down there just to have a presence. But again, how they do it, that's going to be the issue. You have more concerns.
I don't know. Maybe it'll just be a seasonal thing.
Well, that's true. Maybe.